The way you browse the internet is about to drastically change in the next year or so. So in today's pod, we are going to be talking about a product that's driving that change, Arc Browser. To dive into this subject, we are going to divide our video into 3 parts. So in the first part, we are going to be talking about Arc Browser as a product, the company behind it, and its business model. In the second part, we will dive into the web browser market and its competitive landscape. And finally, we are going to tell you whether this product is going to be a win or a bust. If this is your type of content, please subscribe to our channel and also like the video. We are aiming for 50 likes for this video, and we want your thoughts on the Arc browser even before you watch the video. So thank you for your support, and let's start. I know you've been using this browser for a few days now. Let's talk a little bit about browser itself, what it does, and let's give our thought on the product. What do you have to say?
I have started using it 2 or 3 days ago when I came across one of their videos talking about next feature that they are going to introduce in this browser. And I'm like, oh, I've never actually heard of this browser. I was quite surprised, and I downloaded it and I started playing with it, and I can see why people like it so much. As a UI engineer, a UX engineer myself, I can tell when something is well built, especially when the user experience is very different. And that's what I can say about this browser. I've only been using it for 2-3 days now, and I can say that the experience is very different from my traditional browsers like Chrome and Safari. Personally, I use 2 different browsers. I use one for work, which is Chrome. That's where I develop and test my products. And I use Safari because I feel like it's a little bit more secured. That's where I do my personal browsing.
I guess you just hide your browsing history in Safari. You don't want your employer to know. That's why you're using 2, right?
No, not really. They have a lot of software on this machine to prevent you from accessing certain sites. My laptop, for example, I can't really access Perplexity's website. It's literally blocked in the company. But I love Perplexity. I've been using it more and more over Google. I have to go to my phone every time I want to use it. That's okay. Let's talk about Arc.
I was going to say, the guys at Perplexity, for this podcast, I basically use Perplexity for the research, really.
Right.
And, great experience. I mean, on Arc browser, I mean, you send me the link as well to kind of download it and stuff. Me, I've used it for 2 days now. To explain the product to people that are listening or watching us, it is a browser, is a combination of 3 things, basically. It's a browser that has a search engine and web page. And it is a sort of operating system. And really the rationale behind why they build this is the fact that they are thinking that soon everything that we do on a computer or a laptop is going to be web related, and they wanted to create a system is going to help you control and then just work from one place. So that's how this thing is kind of designed and thought about. And I would say it's a lot of big ideas. User experience is nice, it's clean, it's well structured. Some of the tools that I saw there as well, I'm impressed. So that's what I can say for now.
So the Arc browser is a Chromium-based browser. For anybody who doesn't know, Chromium is an open source browser that was built by Google and is the same browser or underlying browser that the Chrome browser uses. And a lot of other companies have adopted this code base and designed their own UI on top of it. If you look Edge browser, which is the second most popular browser in the world, they also use Chromium. And there are tons of other browsers like Tor, Opera, a ton of browsers out there that actually use Chromium as base. It's an open source project from Google. And because it's a Chromium browser, whenever someone installs the Arc browser, they can immediately use everything that they were already using in Chrome. They can import all their browsing history, all their bookmarks, all their Chrome extensions. They can import all those into Arc, and everything just works as if nothing really changed. You just know that, okay, the UI is a little bit different, but that's about it. So that's a good thing. Now, as far as the UI that they built on top of it is concerned, is a little bit of a different approach where instead of having a bar at the top and you see 100 tabs being open, their tab management system, which is kind of the core product here, is
Yep.
on the side, and you can organize your tab into folders, and they call something spaces. So you can basically switch from one context to the other. You can have a workspace, a personal space, and you can basically organize your tab. This is the main feature that they are selling us, but they are going to take it a little bit further. And we are going to talk about the business model and everything of this company.
You describe it perfectly well because, I mean, it looks really good, to be honest. It's clean, it's very well structured. And in a way, I felt that this product is for the maniac, people that love very structured and organized stuff,
Yes.
people that plan their holidays in Excel sheet and those things. So that was what I thought, right? Yeah, it looks really, really nice. And they came up with a lot of nice things. And one of the articles that I kind of went through before the pod was comparing them to the TikTok of browsers. Because basically they were saying that they came up with so many new ideas and big ideas that's going to revolutionize the whole browser space. So on that, I agree with you.
Now let's talk about how this company is trying to dominate browsers market, how
Yeah.
they are trying to make money, right?
Yeah. So, I
As a
mean, in
company.
terms of company itself, you gave the name before. The name is the browser company,
Yes.
and they've raised in total 56.8 million, and that's what they've raised. And they raised this money from people, mainly from Instagram, Stripe, Twitter, Figma, Zoom, and LinkedIn, some of the founders of those companies. And in terms of revenue, they are still in the single digit. Talking about how they are planning to make money, I would say this was the confusing part for me because what they are trying to do so far is that they are providing an ad-free browsing experience, which
Right.
is something that's very important to them. And the
Yes.
second thing that's very key to them is about user privacy, which is
Yes.
something the main or the biggest browser in the world does as well very well. Wink, wink there. So those are the two key things that they do. And this browser is free, right? It's free for everyone. So I was thinking how they are going to make money until I come across the plan that they had regarding how they are planning to charge companies by helping them improve their team's productivity and also facilitate safer online payment. And they have some other potential ways of making money. They talk about product placement, and that was a little bit confusing since they didn't want to do any ad. And they also talk about the subscription model and affiliate marketing thing that they want to do as well. So for me, these are more of, they are not concrete yet. They are just plans and things that they are planning to do. So I'm not sure how they are going to be making money.
Yeah.
What's your thought on this?
The vision from the CEO of the company is if you are an investor, you is easy to buy in the vision. The implementation is something else, right? And that goes without saying for anybody who is building a startup. The ideas are cheap, right? So today, from what the founder is describing, right? He started by saying that today, when you go to the web, right, where do you start? When you open your browser, you don't remember all the website that you want to go to, right? You first type something in Google search, right?
Mhm.
And then you start browsing from there. But originally, before Google, it wasn't this way.
Okay.
Before Google, you open your browser, you have to know exactly the domain name or the URL of the website you want to browse, and you type that. If you make a mistake, that's on you. You type that and you go there. Then Google came along, and what they did, now looking back, you would think is obvious, but well, that's what they did. They came and they basically recorded all the existing websites in the world in a database. And when you type, you go to Google and you don't even need to know exactly the website anymore. You just type a word that has something to do with the website, and Google will give you a lot of links that you can pick from, and you can navigate to thousands of other websites. So basically, Google has made it in such a way that browsing has to start from Google. It's not even starting from the browser. The browser is just a way for you to go to Google, and then from Google, you go to other websites. There is, and we talked about this in the episode we did about Apple, where there is some monopoly in how people can access, right, the web today. even if you know the website, sometimes you just have to go and to type. Not really you have to, but people have developed this second nature where they have to go to Google, type that name there before they navigate away. Google thought about this and they were like, okay, even though we have Google, we want to even give a better way for people to first go to Google before they go anywhere else. So they built the Chromium browser. And you ask yourself, if you had a browser code and it's working well, why will you make it open source, right?
Okay.
And that's what they did, right? They made it open source. By making it open source, it's easier for people who are building their own browsers on top of Chromium to also make Google the default search engine, right? A self-fulfilling prophecy kind of thing that is going on.
I'm telling you. I think we will dive a little bit more into this in the web browsing market.
Right.
But based on this research, right, by preparing this pod, Google is a genius. People at
Yeah.
Google, they are very good. You guys are
Right.
smart. So in terms of how they are planning to make money, right? What do you think of this? And you talk about Google as like a search engine before. From what I've learned from ARC, they are still using Google as default.
Yes.
They are not really changing this.
Right.
And that brings us exactly where we started.
How should they make money? Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a free product. Yes. It's a free product. You can download it and do whatever you want to do. But one of the things you have to remember today, Google pays $1 billion to Apple to make default search engine in iOS, right? So that's $1 billion just every year that goes to Apple. To reduce that from happening, Google created the Chrome browser, right? It has its own browser. It starts from Google. Everything you type in, it goes through Google. And ultimately, how do people buy ads? They buy it through Google as well. Like, so if you want to create an ad, you buy it through Google. And Google is the one, again, which is serving you the ad that you are going through when you go to Google. Self-fulfilling prophecy. We explained that. Now, this model that they are using from the browser company is going to disrupt a little bit of that. Are they going to go back to Google and ask Google, hey, pay us $1 billion so that you can make you default search browser? I don't know, to be honest. But from what I understood from John Miller, the CEO of the browser company, is that he is looking at the browser as a platform. Think of the iPhone. Again, this is a recurring theme in our podcast, but when we look at all these tech companies, they are trying to replicate what Apple has created. Think of the iPhone and think of the browser as the Apple Store. The Arc browser is trying to be the Apple Store of the internet. That's what I understood from the way he was talking, right? By being the Apple Store of the internet, not necessarily being that you will come to the browser and you are going to buy apps, right? But if you think about it, every time you want to access anything on the internet, you need to go through a browser. You don't really have a choice. There is no other way to do it. You have to go through a browser. It's kind of the best marketing platform that exists in the world. So if someone is able to build a platform on top of that, that can allow some people to market their product easily on there, and they have a good size of the people who use browsers in the world, it's kind of a good business.
Okay. I think that relates to what they were talking about regarding product placement then. But what I would say is that this actually, in terms of like copying another player, this is basically copying Google. Let me explain. And this, we are diving into the web browsing market or the landscape of the web browsing. Basically, Chrome doesn't make a lot of money. Chrome doesn't make much money, basically, because web browsers, they make money based on royalties, which is what you talked about before. A search engine get into partnership with them, and then the search engine will pay them a royalty for using that search engine, and engine will be the one doing the ads and then giving a bit of the revenue or the money they get the web browser. So Chrome doesn't get much money because Chrome is based on Google. It's the same company. And Google basically use Chrome as a cross-selling platform. And Chrome just plays like a very good role in the Google ecosystem, just like for Apple.
The iPhone.
Exactly. They cross-sell all Google's product. So that's how they sell more Gmail accounts. That's how they help people to use more Google apps, Google Docs, boost a little bit of ads. And the key thing here is that that's how they track your data as well. It's basically the same thing. And Google manages to do this because they control most of this market. In terms of the browser market, let me just share my screen and show you this chart. So this is the browser market. And you can see that Chrome has around 65% of that market, followed by Safari around 20%, and then Edge, Firefox, and etc. etc. And our dear Arc browser is somewhere in the others, right? And basically, what I'm trying to say here is that Google controls everything, and the market is very big. And
Yes.
this market is around 470 billion in 2023. The Chrome's revenue is around 300 billion. That's a lot of money. And for a small startup such as Arc browser to compete with this company is very, very, very difficult.
It is. But you have to think of it this way. This is more of a disruption than playing the old game, right? You are trying to sell people on efficiency and productivity, right? Privacy, that's debatable because everybody can kind of try to offer some sort of privacy. But this goes back to what Perplexity is doing as well, where they are trying to, the Trojan horse in Google's, let's say, arsenal is Google itself, the search engine. It's not really Chrome. Chrome is just a way for you to get to the search
Thank
engine,
you.
right?
Thank you for saying that. Can you see what I just shared? So that's
Yes,
the
yes.
market share of
The
the
search
search engine
engine
market,
market,
and
yes.
Google is the absolute beast of this market.
92% of the search engine
They are
market.
dominating
Yes.
everybody. And as you know, Chrome uses Google search engine, Firefox or Mozilla uses Google, Safari uses Google, Opera uses Google. They control everything, Google. They are very powerful. They are tough. They are
Yeah,
just a
they,
tough
they, they
competitor.
are very difficult to go around. That's why just creating a browser company is not going to
Yeah.
cut it, because unless their game plan is to restrict themselves to a small number of users who just like the productivity, the user experience of their browser, then it's good for them, like good business, right?
Yeah.
But if you want to really compete with giants like Google, you have to really attack the real problem. And the real problem is the search engine, how it works. Today, and the Perplexity CEO said this, if you go to Google, you get 10 blue links, right? And along those 10 blue links, you get a bunch of ads that are paid for ads or links that you can also sponsored links that you get at the top. Let's say you don't even click those sponsored link and you click on an actual result that is relevant to your search, and you go to that website, you see more ads that are probably served through Google Ads as well. So you have to really attack the problem. And that's why recently they mentioned that they were bringing a feature to their browser. This feature actually exists in one of their products on the iOS. Currently, they have their software, the Arc browser is distributed through Mac. If you have a Mac operating system, you can download the Arc software. If you have an iOS device like an iPhone, you can download the Arc search app as well. And they are not even yet on Windows. They are in beta release right now.
Yep.
Is by invitation. And they don't have anything on Android, the biggest mobile operating system in the world. First of all, what they are trying to accomplish is huge. Like
Yep.
they have a lot of work. Now, even leave that aside. The elephant in the room is the search engine. And that's why they have created this feature called Search for Me. You go into the app, you type the keyword or whatever you're trying to search, and instead of giving you 10 blue links, they only give you the more accurate link that you need. So if you look for a video, for example, they are going to give you maybe 4 different links to YouTube pointing to a video that has to do with your search term. So you don't really need to navigate the 10 blue links. But
do you think,
yeah.
I mean, they are still doing that based on Google, right? In a way, they are just filtering Google results and giving you something more accurate. So I would say they are not like tackling the problem because Google is still behind it.
I don't know the implementation details of this.
Okay.
I don't know if they are building their own indexing database. That means crawling the web and indexing every single web page in the world. I don't know if they are doing that. That's hard to do. That's why nobody has been able to beat Google. Most people don't even have the money to do this. Bing has tried this for years and wasn't successful. I don't know if that's what they're doing. But here's the thing. This is not good for Google in this way. If you buy an ad, and let's say things are reversed, where 90% of people are using Arc browsers, and you go and buy an ad through Google, your ad is not going to get seen by a human. if Arc is going to do this automatically and
Yeah.
just give you the relevant links, Google is going to lose. And what are people going to do? They are going to take their money and say, hey, let me go to Arc and let me pay Arc so that it shows my product.
Got you. Totally
So,
agree with that.
but to me, this is where I'm getting lost again because I don't know everything. I don't know too much about this company. If they win this game, right, are they just going to become Google, do the same thing, serve as ad at the end? To be honest with you, this is the most lucrative business. Is the
I
ad
agree.
business.
I agree. And I've seen other companies as well that came up with, I would say, operating system similar to what Arc browser is trying to do. So there is one called Sigma OS, which is very clean as well. It's an operating system that's trying to tackle a similar problem. There is another one called Brave as well. Try to prioritize the same things, user privacy, and also killing ads. And this browser loads very faster than Chrome. And they use like cryptocurrency and some stuff like that. What I'm trying to say is that there are other players that are trying to come at Google and trying to solve this problem. But based on all the things we've said so far, this is very difficult to do. And all you can do is disrupt Google just a little bit. Taking
Right.
over in the short term, I don't see that happening. I know we are going a little bit into our take now. Tell me first, what's your take on this whole thing? Is it going to be a win or a bust?
For me, they will have a relatively okay kind of success. I don't see this being a big thing. They can try to sell the crap out of this browser. I understand that it's good. I like it personally. I'm a big fan of it. I like that I don't have to deal with ads because on all my browsers, I have ad blockers on all my browsers. There's no, like, I don't like ads. That's that for me. When they say no ads, I'm sold. Okay. I'm good with that. But again, when it comes to business, you need to make money. I don't know exactly how they're going to make it, but here's one thing I noticed in one of their presentation. They are offering to have ChatGPT as part of your search, like quick way to access ChatGPT. Is it that OpenAI is paying them to place their product there? Another thing I saw is that Perplexity now is one of their default search engine as well. Before, they only had Google, Bing, and the usual suspects, right? They just recently announced that they added Perplexity to that.
Microsoft.
Right. But is Perplexity paying them to do this? If this is the way, and I just watched another podcast of the founder, he was saying something like, if you are someone who is building a software, you should reach out to us. That means that if you are building something that can be sold through surfacing it in their browser, you can partner with them. All these are good, but it's like you are going back to the same thing you are saying that it's wrong that Google is doing this. Like you are going back to ads basically.
Yeah.
This don't feel like partnership. It feels like you are just selling us ads in a sneaky way.
Yeah, I totally understand you. On my side, I would say that the future browser that we are going to be using in the next maybe 2 or 3 years is going to look like Arc browser. I'm not sure whether it's going to be Arc browser, but it's going to be something that looks like it. And it's going to be caring a lot about our privacy. It's going to also be cleaner and focus on user experience.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether that's going to be Arc or not. My issue with Arc, though I like their ideas, I think the changes that they are trying to implement into our lives are a little bit big, and we need a little bit of time to really learn how to use the platform or the operating system. And knowing human beings in general, they don't like changes. That's going to be hard. And I hope for Arc browser that it doesn't end up becoming a product like, do you remember the Segway PT? That product where you just get on it and then it just drives you around.
Yeah, the Segway.
Yeah, the Segway that, it was great. But where is the Segway now?
No,
Nobody
yeah.
knows. That's my take on
Yeah,
it.
that's
Good
a
luck.
very good
Good luck to them.
point. Nothing is also stopping other browsers like Safari or even Chrome to copy their UI and build it. Nothing
Yeah,
is stopping them.
yeah.
The only
And
thing
the more
stopping Google today is figuring out how can I do what Arc is doing and still serve ads.
exactly. And
Right.
me, I was more thinking about acquisition actually.
It's going to be tough because you will need a big amount of product, they have to look at you as a threat before they even consider you as an
That's
acquisition.
true.
And today, if I was someone on the upper echelon in the Google leadership, I would be more worried about Perplexity than Arc, to be honest with you. Because
I agree.
if you want to play this game, you address the elephant in the room, and that is the search engine. And Perplexity has done well by attacking the search engine. And ultimately, if Perplexity becomes big enough, they can buy Arc and be what we want Arc to be.
Cool. So yeah, that's it for today then.
Thank you for listening. We hope you've enjoyed the content. Don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe.
Me and my buddy, we making all of this money. Yeah, I know it's rude to be bragging. They never catching us slacking. Me and my buddy, we working hard for this money.